The American Society for the Protective Care of Children released these statistics. 1,820 children died from child abuse and neglect in 2021. 5 children die every day from child abuse. Children who experience child abuse and neglect are approximately 9 times more likely to become involved in criminal activity. About 30% of abused and neglected children will go on to abuse their own children. There was one study that showed that 80% of 21-year-olds who were abused and neglected as children met the criteria for at least one psychological disorder, and these behaviors cross all racial, economic, and cultural lines. In 2003, the Doris Duke Foundation reached out to the Center for the Study of Social Policy. They had a question. How do we reach families before they're involved with the child welfare system? How do we prevent child abuse? So the Doris Duke Foundation funded the research, and the Center for the Study of Social Policy developed the Strengthening Families Protective Factors framework. Child abuse and neglect is preventable. The 5 attributes found in the Strengthening Families framework have been proven to reduce the impact of and lessen the probability of abuse and neglect in families. Those 5 attributes are parental resilience, social connections, knowledge of parent, teen, and child development, social and emotional competence of children, and concrete supports in times of need. Building protective factors individually is wonderful, but the protective factors are meant to be used together. They often overlap. I will define each factor, give examples of them, and discuss how they impact each other. So the first two are resiliency and social connections. Resiliency is the ability to overcome difficult life experiences, that often be strengthened by or even transformed by those experiences. So this looks like a person who has hope. They have problem solving skills. They can make and achieve goals. They can proactively manage adversity. Social connections is the ability and opportunity to develop positive relationships that lessen stress, lessen isolation, and build a supportive network. So this looks like a person who has positive role models in their life. They're members of a social group or a hobby activity. They have a sense of connectedness, and that helps them feel secure. Social connections and resiliency often overlap because a person who has a supportive community that's willing to help them often has an easier time achieving goals. Now, the next two are knowledge of parenting and child development and the social and emotional competence of children. So, knowledge of parenting and child development is the ability to exercise effective parenting strategies and knowing what to expect as children develop and grow. So, this looks like a person who understands child development. They have age appropriate developmental expectations, and they understand the impact that parenting has on a developing brain. Social and emotional competence of children. So, this is families and family and child interactions that help the child develop the ability to communicate clearly, recognize and regulate their emotions, and establish and maintain relationships. So, this is are the child's feelings validated? Are they given the opportunity to solve problems? Um, Look for a child who has a nurturing relationship with their caregiver. These two are closely linked because helping parents understand child development and their importance as a parent often in that development often leads to a child whose emotional needs are being met. The last factor is concrete supports in time of need. So this is access to supports and services that reduce stress and help make families stronger. This is a person who knows how to navigate complex systems, and they know about the resources in the community that they're eligible for. The ability to ask for help shows resilience. The savvy to access that help is a concrete support in times of need. A concrete support could be quality early learning program. This also provides a social connection and can help provide the information that a parent needs about child development. So, when protective factors are in place, they've been known to help families because they strengthen their own awareness of their innate abilities. They build life skills that reduce prolonged stress and decrease the likelihood of child abuse and neglect. And they disrupt unhealthy patterns that in their own life. And improves their success as parents and can break generational cycles of abuse and neglect. Child abuse and neglect is preventable. Building parental resilience, social connections, increasing the knowledge of parenting and child development, social and emotional competence of children, and concrete supports in times of need have been found to reduce the impact and probability of child abuse and neglect in families. So I spoke with Victoria Hilt from the Children's Trust Fund Alliance. She's a certified trainer of the Strengthening Factors Families Protective Factor Framework, and she offered this word of caution. When working with families to build protective factors, it's important to recognize that each family has individual needs, and these factors will look different for each family. The organization or individual working to build these protective factors must value and elevate those differences to truly create positive impact.